Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. I need you guys to smash that like button to get into this melody series. So today I'm going to show you how to make melodies on the acoustic guitar. It's all about the chords. For this specific contact library called Veer2 Acoustics, this is the best sounding guitar plugin I've used so far. In the bottom left we have these black notes. These represent the play style. So if I click on these, you have polyphonic, you have legato. Okay, so by default I think it starts at legato, meaning one note at a time. We want to click on these until we see polyphonic. Okay, because now we want to create chords. Let's go to our channel rack here, right click, go to piano roll. Now every guitar plugin is different, so the characteristics of this plugin are going to be different than yours most likely. So what we're going to do is start at a root note, and if you, for example, let's create a dark guitar type sound. We're going to start using minor chords and suspended second chords to begin with. Okay, so a minor chord is 0, 3, 7. Wherever you start is your root note. This is 0. Okay, and then count up your keyboard note by note. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's called a minor chord. And the simple thing is that we're going to take this middle note, hit shift down. This now creates what's called a suspended second chord, which is 0, 2, 7. So it creates a nice tense sound. But what we'll do here is listen for this top note. Okay, so we're gonna just pull that whole suspended second chord down until that top note. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so let's copy this over. So I want to go dun, 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 dun. So in this case, I'm not going to create a new chord. Here's something unique about guitar. We can play notes in the chord as if they're melody without jumping around and making a new chord. So all I'm doing is slicing the notes of the chord and then just kind of letting it. No, my ear wants to hear. So now I'm going to drop it down to a different chord. Chances are it's a major chord, C, E, G. So even though we're using a major chord, it's in a dark context. Okay, so we don't need to revoice. This plugin does it for us. If you're in other, plugins, you could take the root note, you could duplicate it, pull it up an octave. You could take your thirds. In this case, this isn't a third, but you could take that middle note of your chord. Darn, I messed up the screen. Where is it at? Boom. Okay, you could take these middle notes of the chord and pull these up one octave. So it's called revoicing the chord. But see how it sounds the same no matter what I do? That's the plugin. The way the plugin is built, it does that for us with this specific plugin, so it saves a lot of time. So this is the unique thing about acoustic guitar, is you can play melody within your chords, whereas other stuff, it gets tricky depending on what plugin. And then on it, dun, 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 dun. So dun. Okay, so let's do C, and then change the bass note. See how it revoiced, because now we're not hearing the root note. This is called a first inversion. We're just using E minor, but pulling the E up so that it's closer instead of being way down here. We're going to pull that up. Let's actually try the second inversion, where we take the first and the third, pull it up an octave. Let's just see what the guitar sounds like. Could have a cooler ending, but okay, so there are 4 layers to melodies. You have a harmony area, which has your chords. You have the top line, which is your memorable melody. You have the contrast layer, which is your bass / counter melody, and you have a rhythm section. So we need to figure out what are we going to add in the guitar for this specific track. This is probably the lowest octave we can go for this guitar. See, E would be the lowest note, and we can't go further. So dropping this down an octave won't give us any more support. bass support. So this is pretty much the lowest note we could achieve in this chord type, unless we pull down what's called the fifth. Now, I don't know how this plugin works as far as the voicing, so we might not even be able to perceive this, but let's duplicate this, pull it down. Okay, so we do, and this is why we voice chords on guitar a little bit different, because they have a natural range of notes, and we can't go past that range of notes. So this is why I'm using the fifth in the bass as opposed to the root, because if we take the root and go down an octave, we're out of the range. I can't play D3. There's no D3. So I'm taking the fifth and adding this layer underneath. So far we have the contrast layer. We have the top line up here. And we have the harmony on the in-between. So we have all these things. Now let's add rhythm. And this is the part that most people don't understand. They think we need to add a bunch of different things. In short, the way this plugin works is you have what are called triggers, trigger keys. So we're going to use this octave C5 to C6. In FL Studio, you have to add 2 to the octave. So really it's C7 and C8. So these are going to trigger different chords. And all we have to do is just give this a rhythm. I found dun 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 to be a nice rhythm. Just clone this, Control B. So now we're going to play that same melody, same chord, same contrast, but now with a rhythm. It's a little sloppy. Let's switch this. So it's just changing the way we're strumming the notes. And now we need to mess with the velocities. Let's go to highlight all the notes of the chord, humanize this with the piano roll script. In this case, we're not going to mess with the start time at all. I'm trying to think of a fast way to do this. Let's just do it and then hit Control L to quantize the notes. Actually, no. Let's do this one more time. Humanize, but we need to turn off what's called the start time offset. Let's keep this at 0. Boom. And I think that should be straight. It's hard to see though. Some notes are overlapping, so let's just remove overlaps. Now if we hear any errors, it's because of the way the plugin is built. So this one I might do velocity manually, only because the humanize feature is messing with some different things. All right, something that's not fitting this natural strumming style is this dun 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 part, because it's not fitting the strumming pattern. So we just have to change that timing. Okay, next thing I like to do is transpose the key to get different vibes. Now let's hit shift down. Now remember our range, our lowest note we could achieve is E down here. So let's just hit shift down. Try out different keys for different moods. Now we're getting into the really low keys here. This one has more of a storytelling vibe to it. change out the chord type at the end there. So this one gives the most storytelling vibe to me, but I think the one I liked the most was when we started at B, I think. So B flat sounds better to me. Well, D, E flat. If you guys wanted a more, pronounced melody, you could clone this contact and then specifically use legato. So I'll show you guys a couple techniques. We don't want to have too many things happening though, because it can confuse the listener. But what we can do is duplicate this plugin specifically, go to the bottom left, and then click on one of these black keys to go to legato. Let's do hammer on, which is more for pitch bending. And now we can add little accents on top of the chords, even though we already have like a storyline type top line in the chords. And the cool part about this is we could utilize the hammer on sound, which is when we overlap notes, it pitch bends, and we can't do that in the other articulation style, the key switch. So this is going to have more expressive tone. So here we're just reinforcing the parts of the chord. So it's more of an accent than it is a top line. See how we almost have too many high frequencies, because when we add that rhythm, we're actually adding attention to the high note, and so it's triggering as if it's a melody. So we got to be careful not to overstack that top line. So in this case, I would really not add that top line, but I'm showing you guys how to think as if we're doing multiple takes. All right, so that is how you make melodies using acoustic guitar plugins. Alright, to learn how to make beats like the pros, learn music theory, melody making, chord making, go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. I'll leave a link below. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.